Sword Art Online, or SAO for short, is one of those type of animes that is so big that it's one of the biggest topics to discuss when it comes to an anime that is either loved or hated. While the original series, at least first arc, was probably the best in the series, we had hits or misses. Most of the time they were misses. Once in a while we did have some good hits, but not great. Ordinal Scale was one type of film that was a hit. The second arc in the first season was not great. First arc of the first season, decent but not great, but better than the next few arcs. Yeah, but yeah, writing aside, there are issues with SAO. There's some good charms about it, but everything else could have been done a lot better. But now, Progressive has come to the stage. And we're going back to the Nerve Gear. We're going back to the first season, the Aincrad arc. We're going back to when it was good. And will it live up to that expectation? I don't know. If you're that type of person that hates SAO, then you're not going to like it, so I guess goodbye. But if you're a fan, whether it succeeds or it flops. Alright, so hello everyone. Today we're going to be reviewing SAO Progressive, the movie. This is actually the first time since Corner is reviewing an anime with us. Mm-hmm. Matt has been with us for the Demon Slayer reviews. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so let's talk about it since we just saw it.
No way. This is the game?
So this movie is more it takes place basically just before the start of the show itself.
Right.
But it's more of Asuna's perspective. And we get to see what she was doing right around the time the whole shit show happened. And it follows her and her best friend as she's training to survive this situation. However, things ended up happening. And then we kind of end up getting to see just stuff that happened in the first season. But then after that, it kind of leaves it with another part to come later. And that's pretty much the plot. We just see Asuna develop as a character through this.
Right, definitely.
We never saw her
development.
Yeah, we never saw her. Like episode 2 of the first season, we saw her in the hood and all that. See, it was like a time skip right there. This shows the progression when they're stuck throughout most of November up until, I guess, close to December. So I thought it was interesting with that. Asuna got more character time, to be honest. But the new character was literally just made for this show. Not even in the manga, not even in the light novel, none of that. She was just inserted in, which to me, when it comes to the plot and the timeline, it kind of starts to shake a little bit because
messes it up a little, doesn't it?
Because
I didn't remember her.
Because now we're having almost like an alternate route a little bit with how things go, and I will get to the comparisons in a sec. Yeah, so what do you guys think of the plot?
I like the plot, but I think I was at a disadvantage because there was a lot about season 1 that I did not remember. I completely forgot when she and Kirito first met each other. I don't believe that was shown at all in the first season when he, like the first meeting in this movie. Was that actually shown in the first season? I don't remember that at all. I completely forgot that she had worn a hood in the show. And of course, I completely forgot about her friend. And then, of course, we find out that friend was never even in the first. She's never even in it at all. So what I wanted to ask was, in this movie, when it showed them encounter each other for the first time, did that happen in season 1? Because I don't remember.
No. What happened was in season 1, I think it was episode 2. It was more of when she's already in the hood. They're having that meeting.
The meeting where in the amphitheater.
That was in episode 2 of season 1, and she's already in the hood. And I would mention the comparisons. You could like tell they just redrew that entire scene, because the whole part where she's eating the bread with him and the cream and stuff, that was like all in the first or second episode.
So that part was in the episode. I couldn't. There's so much I have forgotten. So much.
That
So-
and then the whole fight scene in that dungeon was in that entire second episode of SAO.
You
She
mean
was in the hood.
the
They teamed
you mean
up.
the climax
Yeah,
of this movie?
that was
Okay,
in
so that-
episode 2. They fought that creature, and you know, even the opening is like guaranteed to be all redrawn just from Asuna's perspective.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To me, I felt that was kind of pretty interesting. Except the only thing you're getting now with the whole alternate thing with the timeline is her friend. Just
Stuff that
inserted
wasn't-
in
stuff
there.
That's been added. Yeah.
Yeah, she was never in this, but we do get an explanation on how Asuna's hairstyle is in the very back.
Exactly, and how she became so good at fighting.
Fighting, because
I-
like I was gonna say, because episode 2, it like episode 1, the whole chaos at the beginning. Okay, I think in episode 2, it was. By that point, it was like a time skip because she's already in the hood. All that.
Right. So this is
And that's
all
when
that
it-
stuff like in between.
This is like in
showing
between.
her journey. Like it shows how she gets in the game in the first place, and then so the stuff from the amphitheater to the final battle. Wait, in the amphitheater, she had already met Kirito. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. Like they're showing everything. Obviously, everything that happens with her up until she goes to the amphitheater meeting, and then stuff that happens between that point and the big battle at the end.
Yeah.
And something that I was noticing when I was watching this, well, okay, number one, I thought the voice acting was great. I do prefer dub English voices for animation shows, because I was telling you when we were leaving the theater, it's much easier to accomplish than in live action. It's easier to buy into, right? Because it's animated, so the mouths aren't always going to work perfectly.
Yeah.
But so and it sounded to me like the regular cast returned, all of them, from what I noticed, and also I thought the animation was beautiful.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like the coloring. I like
definitely.
the style. I always thought the animation was good in Sword Art Online, but like you said, if I compared the animation in the original, like the first season with this, I'm sure I would see a huge improvement.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the quality in here is still good for a 2010s anime. It's just this is newer.
I did have one thing that stood out to me as what the heck, and there was no explanation for why. And I'm gonna, okay. So we're venturing into spoilerish territory here. Not huge spoilers, just kind of getting into some detail as to what happened in a scene. And when she was in that fight with her friend, and those weird flower creatures with the big lips were coming after him,
Yeah.
and she wasn't supposed to kill this one with the fruit, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
She was trying to stop, but why didn't she? It was like her sword acted on its own accord. That made no sense to me at all.
It was the skill.
There was no explanation.
No,
the
it
skill.
was it was the skill she had. It pushes you forward when it blows.
I get it now. I get it. I was I was like, what the heck? And then they never explained it, so I was like,
Right.
What's going on?
It's the momentum. It's toward.
I get it. No, I get it.
They play with it ending.
I get it now. This is me because this is me just being a gamer dum dum, because I don't play these sorts of things.
Well,
so
you
I
do
had
work
no
on
idea
RPGs. You do work on RPGs.
I don't work on RPGs. I work on books about RPGs.
But Matt,
which is funny because when I started working on these books, the first thing I thought of was SAO.
Yeah.
So okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna
Matt.
say, yeah, like Matt, what did you think?
I liked it. I thought it was good. It flowed well, meaning it didn't have chunks missing. That was one thing with the SAO show that always got me, was there were, I know there's time skips and stuff, but there were like entire like plot points cut or moved or not explained, or they would go back to something later on and be like, hey, remember when this happened? And it wasn't in the first season. So I liked how the narrative, like, really kind of connected. And they do add in some of the manga characters and some of the other, like, smaller niche characters, even if they just have cameos.
Basically, this movie covers bits and pieces, or basically it covers the timeline of episode 1 and 2.
Yeah,
right?
That's pretty much all it was. Just showing Austin's perspective, which I think did a good job with expressing everything with her struggles. To be honest, I thought I had a memory that where I think the next one will go, because I did read one of the mangas, because I thought after they beat that boss, they go on a whole other adventure, which the second movie will cover. But yeah, animation was top notch. Really very detailed at points. Obviously, it's gonna surpass the show because it's 10 years old by this point. It's kind of adapting more of the season 3 art style.
Season 3 was the Gungel arc, right?
No, that's when he's in like another world.
Season 2 Gungel?
That's season 2. Yeah, that's season 2.
Okay,
season 3.
I don't think I saw all of season 3.
You watched a bit of it. It's when he's fighting some goblins with the blonde-haired kid.
A little bit. I definitely don't remember
Alice,
much about it.
Alice.
Oh yeah, Alicization or something like that.
Yeah,
right. Now I remember I was like, I don't like this. I'm out. So I couldn't watch it. I did. I jumped ship because Kirito was getting to be a boring character to me because
he's a bit of a Mary Sue. Oh, Mary Sue.
And he didn't feel completely like that in this one.
No.
Not
to be
honest,
me,
but I was gonna.
It was kind of nice to see these characters on the big screen again, because I remember when we went to see the first movie.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And nice to see these characters again on the big screen. So that was nice. Yeah, like Kirito, I don't like, to be honest, they're kind of going back to the first show, where I think he was a little bit better in the first season than he started to kind of get to the point.
I agree. That's why the first season to me is the best.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed season 1, but I was going to ask you, you made a prediction as to where you thought this movie was going to end. You said, I think it's going to be where it's going to go through this particular battle you mentioned. Is that the one that you were thinking that it was going to end?
That was the battle, yeah. It was a whole recreation of the second episode battle.
Okay.
All of it in detail. Yeah. Matt, do you have anything else to add?
Not really. The one thing I would have to check if this was the intended design, but the first enemies you see in the beta test, the lizard people, may have been the lizard people Kirito was fighting in the way with the first novel. Because the first novel starts off with him fighting lizard people, and then it reverses back, and then it goes back to that, and then starts the rest of the story.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. Even if they're not the same design, it's interesting to see those enemies.
I read a bit of the light novel, yeah.
Might have been a little bit of an homage to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, now, I do want to jump to the new character. Would you say she had also a pretty good, character development? We kind of got to know her a bit, even though she's new, but since she's just this character that's inserted, she's kind of there.
No.
Okay, I didn't feel like there was a lot of character development with her. Go ahead, Matt, because there was some stuff I was wanting to say about her, and I don't want to. No, you go ahead.
She merged well for the story. It's a lot better than what they did with the way the anime works, because the anime is basically part 1 is book 1 and book 2 smashed together. So you get these weird episodes where this one blacksmith girl just randomly shows up. She's in a few background, but she's now a main character. Or you get the little girl with the dragon, and it's one episode. She doesn't really do anything for the rest of that whole 16-episode arc. Or the whole murder mystery plot. It kind of goes somewhere, but it doesn't really go anywhere. With her, at least they were able, when they did insert her, if you know what to look for, you know where they did add her in, but it works. It
Mhm.
wasn't really,
She didn't-
this doesn't make any sense. It made sense.
Like she didn't mess up anything because I was thinking to myself, well, I knew that Kirito finished off the final boss in that part. So for her, she's like kind of there, sort of intertwined with that whole timeline part, but at least it didn't like affect it in some way. He still
It
beat
didn't
it.
change the the original final outcome.
Yeah,
in other
because-
words, yeah.
Because in the original, Asuna and Kirito, they pretty much beat that thing up, and then I think Kirito did finish him off. But yeah, what were you gonna say, Sin, about?
About her, I felt like I feel like obviously she served an important purpose to help sort of guide Asuna's character development along.
Mhm.
But I felt like they had a. It almost seemed like they were hinting at a bit of a deeper type of relationship going on with him.
That's what I
And
thought.
I was definitely getting those vibes. It never really went there, but I was feeling like this feels like it's undertones of that. But another thing that I thought was kind of odd, it's not necessarily odd or bad, but just like kind of, well, that's a strange relationship they had. And it was at the beginning when it shows this girl, what was her name? She called her Mito in the game, right? But what was her real name? I forgot her name. Her
I
friend.
thought it started with a T. I thought
I thought it started with an
Toma
M.
something.
Yeah, it was an M. It was like Mito.
I'll just call her
Mito.
Mito.
Okay,
Her game
Mito.
name was Mito, but she had
Mito.
some other name. Anyway, whatever, Mito. So it was almost like Austin. So she, in the real world, she's this great gamer. That's why she's so good in the game. So
Yeah.
explains that's why she's such a badass in the game, because she had just been gaming for years, which makes sense.
Mhm.
But it was like she was a social outcast in a way, because she
Mhm.
was always alone. And Asuna had her little group of friends, and Asuna was friends with her, but when she was with her groups or with her friends, she almost acted like the other girl didn't exist.
Mhm.
But then when nobody else was around, then they were like, bosom buddies. And it was just like, I thought that was really odd, like that Asuna would act that way. Like that, like she just acted almost, not necessarily snobbish, but it's like, why don't you openly acknowledge her and hang out with her when all your other friends are around? Why are you just not mingling with her when you only do it when people are gone?
Those parts in the manga, she wasn't in the manga. So what they try to do is they try to recreate scenes from the manga
Yeah, I
and
guess.
try to smash this new character in. So either
Yeah,
you have to
it's
rechange every scene and have a new person in there,
Right.
or she's antisocial. Look, we still have the same scene. She's just in the
Yeah.
background. That's
Yeah.
because some of those girls do show up in the manga as well.
Mm.
I think it was them not trying to mess with the scenes, but add in the new character. That's how I got it. That's why Asuna's
Yeah.
personality kind of just, it's Sword Art when it mixes like three contents together, it doesn't always mix well.
I just thought that was odd, because Asuna didn't seem like she was someone that was snobbish, but yet at the same time it was like she seemed like she was bordering on that when she wouldn't acknowledge her friend. I was like, that's really, what a strange relationship they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless she's just
But,
maybe she's just too antisocial. She doesn't want to be around Asuna's friends while she's hanging out with them.
Could be,
Only
yeah,
until
could be. And then Asuna doesn't want to abandon her friends to go hang out with the other girl. Something I was thinking when we were watching the movie is, so I enjoyed season 1 a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't crazy. Because season 2 was well, I enjoyed the first arc of season 1. I did not enjoy the Fairyland stuff. That was just dumb. I didn't like that. And Guntail, okay, but then by the time season 3 came along, I'd sort of lost my, I'm kind of over this. But what I was thinking is, I feel like the movies are, and I've seen the two movies, I feel like they were better.
Yeah, I would agree, because I remember watching Ordinal Scale and I actually thought it was
I like that.
Great, because it's weird. It's like the show has more time to build things up, but for some reason it's got issues where it's either too slow or it's got not great writing. You know? It's like, how is that possible? Usually movies only have a certain amount of time to fill in something. You know, you can only put but so much. And yet, for online, movies are usually better.
Mm-hmm.
Is Kirito as much of a Mary Sue in the books as he seems to be in a lot of the?
It's a little different. It's the first book is really well written with the character. Like it's hard to explain. Like it's all in first person. It's all from his perspective. So like he's powering up. Like with him getting stronger, it's all from his perspective. What starts becoming a problem with Kirito is when they get into like book 2, and part of it's in first person when it's like him and like Asuna. They both have like first person chapters, and then like Liz's chapter is third person.
I see.
So it's and they just do that because they're hoping people will like put themselves into Kirito.
Okay.
You know, it's that bland, you know, ooh, if he could do this, I can imagine myself as doing that.
Right. Okay. Well, I haven't read them. You're referring to manga, right? Or are you referring to actual novels?
There's light novels. There are a series. The Fairy Dance both get 2 light novels.
Which makes no sense.
I did not like that one at all. It was like, man, the show got started off so good. So when I think of season 1, I only think of the Ironclad.
The first 16 episodes.
I mean,
Wait, is it called Ironclad? Is it called Ironclad? What's it called?
Ironclad.
Yeah,
Ironclad.
Okay, that one.
Okay, the only thing at the time when I was younger, I was like what, 17 when I was watching this, so I had a smaller brain. but see, the thing that stuck with me, at least with season, like the second part of the first season, I liked the aspect where he had to save Asuna. That was like the only thing that kept me intrigued, but then other people don't like it.
It weakens her.
No, yeah.
Fatality.
I was more intrigued of him trying to save her like the whole time, but I could agree.
I just thought it was a dumb storyline.
I
did not like it at all. Okay.
But anyways, overall, I actually really enjoyed this film. I thought it was a pretty good balanced film. Maybe tiny specks of minor issues, but it's going to be expected. I mean, not everything's going to be perfect.
Sword Art Online.
So to conclude, I actually think, to me, when it came to the first season, some people had issues where, they rushed the time, or they rushed. I felt like they rushed Asuna and Kirito's relationship. I feel like people didn't notice the time skip. They could have known each other, bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
At least this film kind of gives you more depth with them. And, the next part will probably give us even more depth.
Yeah. Because this is a part 1, if we didn't mention.
Yeah.
This is a part 1. And also, interestingly enough, when part 2 comes out, it will be taking place in the same time frame when the actual original series happened. 2020.
Unless part 2 is part of the 2-year time skip, and it takes place during 2024.
Oh, that's right.
Well, we might get a glimpse of both, possibly, but to me, I think I have more appreciation for the first season, even more that they kind of fleshed more of this thing out. But the only downside people are probably going to say is that, well, inserting the new character and doing some little things here, they're following more of the progressive manga. Or is it a light novel too, Matt?
It's
both.
Or
is it just it's both?
And those are more inclined that they can connect with the original series. This one kind of can't because of the new character. You have to kind of go and say, oh, she's never shown up during all of these other major events.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, but in general, if you want, like, that's the thing. That's kind of what's hard about this movie. I like that you're seeing more of Asuna's perspective. I mean, we already got Kirito's, but even the show kind of, time skip. At least with this, you see what was going on during this few weeks after that whole chaos. But the downside is that whether you can really insert it somewhere in the timeline because of that new character. But other than that, though, I personally enjoyed it, and it gave me more of appreciation for the first season. And I just think did a pretty good job with it. So I would say it's very good.
Yep.
And there's nothing at the end, so don't stay. Not worth
Nope.
staying.
Just if you want to see a light get turned off, then that's about it. If people that really like SAO, they'll really enjoy this. If you're more like us, where we liked only the first season, this would definitely be the thing to watch.
Yeah, that was why I was interested to watch it. If it was going to take place in Fairyland, I would have just sat out in the lobby and worked with my computer.
That may be
Yeah.
the second group of
Oh
movies.
gosh, if it is, I don't know. I just don't know
No,
about
let's
that,
not go there.
I think
I mean,
Progressive has at least 7 or 8 light novels, so.
Oh, okay.
No, that's when we'll probably drop it. Unless I want to torture myself, I'd rather probably torture myself with that than watch Cats.
Mhm.
That Matt tries to get me to see.
Ay, ay. Delicioso.
Hey! That was for Kirito.
Oh. Un momento, Asuna. Un momento. Un momento. Un momento. Un momento. Un momento.